David HaMelech asked Kadosh Baruch Hu, when am I going to die? And Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I cannot tell anyone the day they're going to die, because that removes their free choice. Because if you knew, for example, that you're going to die in 20 years from now, on a specific day, what's going to lead you? That's going to lead you to say, okay, you know what? If I know I'm going to die in 20 years from now, on a specific day, I'll do whatever I want for 19 years. But the last year, strong tshuva. Last year, I'll become Baba Sali Katanchik. A little Baba Sali I'll become. So that way I go ahead and enjoy this world and the next. Hashem does not want to remove our free choice. So He does not tell us when we're going to die. This is also the reason why after the generation of Noach, the generation of the flood, you notice that no one really lived the same amount of years. At the time of Noach, if you look at Sefer Bereshit, everyone died at a really old age. Chanoch was the youngster that died a little over 300 years old. He was a youngster. Everybody else died 900, 800 years later, 1,000 years later, 1,200 years, all these huge numbers. Kadosh Baruch Hu changed it and said from now on, maximum lifetime without an exception is 120 years. There are certain exceptions that are made after that for Avraham Avinu and for other people in the Torah, but nonetheless, generally speaking, a person cannot live past 120. And the reason why is because the Kadosh Baruch Hu already wants everyone to know from day one, your time is limited in this world. At best case scenario, if you are a tzaddik, Yesod Olam, 120 years. You're Rabbi Akiva, you're Moshe Rabbeinu, maximum 120 years. Even if you didn't even make a sin, 120 years. But if you're making sins, every time a person makes sins, he can be cutting himself away from those years. That's why you see, average person doesn't die 120 years old. Average person dies 65, 70 years old, 72 in America. That's it. But many, many people die even much younger, Hashem Yachem. I saw a statistic recently of the people that died. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 55 million people that die a year. A lot of people die every year. And every day you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people die. Now, you would think that most people, according to the statistic, die at 70 years old, 60 years old. Wrong. There are even more people that die under the age of 70 years old or even 60 years old than there are people that die older. In fact, almost half of them die before 35, 40 years old. Young people, 25, 20, 5 years old, 2 years old, 6 months old, Hashem Yachem. You know how many babies die every year? Hashem Yachem. You see your kids grow up to become adults, that's already a bracha. People have no idea how much we're all living on borrowed time. It's a gift every day. No time to be depressed. No time to be upset about anything. You don't have that much time. So anyway, so David HaMelech was a tzaddik Yesod Olam, and he asked Hashem, when am I going to die? Hashem says, I cannot tell you when you're going to die because that will remove your free choice. So David says, okay, so can you at least tell me what day of the week I'm going to die? And Hashem, because of the merits of David HaMelech, he says, yes, you're going to die on Shabbat. You're going to die on Shabbat. So David says, Hashem, what, I die on Shabbat, they can't even bury me. Let me die on Friday, before Shabbat. So they bury me before Shabbat. There's actually also a special sgula. Anyone that has the merit to die on Friday and be buried before Shabbat is promised from Shamayim, they will not suffer the pain of chibut kever, the beating of the grave. But how many people in one generation die and get buried on Friday? Very few. You have to have a lot of connections in order to, and a lot of merits to have such a death. But anyway, person like this has a lot of merits. But David HaMelech says, let me die on Friday. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no way. No way. Why not? Because your son is going to continue your kinghood. He's going to be the next king. And your son is going to be a big tzaddik. He's going to bring a lot of korbanot, a lot of sacrifices. A lot of sacrifice. Just on the grand opening of the Bet HaMikdash, he brought so many sacrifices. The Gemara talks about, gives the exact numbers of sheep and cows and all types of sacrifices that Shlomo HaMelech brought in the honor of Hashem. Rav Mizrahi Sheikhye did the calculation one time. He said that Shlomo HaMelech brought in almost $150 million in sacrifices on the grand opening of the Beit HaMikdash. $150 million grand opening party. Just for the sacrifice. We're not talking about the entertainment. No music, not the music. Music was even more expensive. I'm talking about just the sacrifices. $150 million almost. I think closer to 130. Anyway, in today's dollars, obviously. Point is, Rabotai, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to David HaMelech, even 1,000 korbanot, even 1,000 sacrifices that your son Shlomo HaMelech is going to bring me is not worth to me a single day of your Torah learning, David. Meaning, I'm not going to miss out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling David, I'm not going to miss out on a day of your Torah just to get the sacrifices from your son a day early. No way. I want your Torah. I'm not going to let you live one day less than you're supposed to, because I know that day you're going to learn Torah. Your Torah is very valuable to me. So I cannot take you out of this world early, a day early. Okay, so David HaMelech says, okay, so take me out a day late. Take me out on Sunday. Hashem says to David, no way. Why no way? Because we have a Kadosh Baruch Hu has a certain rule. We cannot have two kinghoods conflict timing. Meaning, you are supposed to be king till that Shabbat. Till that Shabbat. The kinghood is supposed to begin that Motzei Shabbat. That, in essence, that next day, which is that Sunday, that Yom Rishon, that's supposed to be the beginning of Shlomo HaMelech, your son's kinghood. So if you die on Sunday, you're going to be king for an extra day. That cannot be. So from that point on, David HaMelech knew that the Malach HaMavet can't touch him as long as he's learning Torah. So every day he's learning Torah, especially on Shabbat, he's learning Torah to no end. He's not sleeping. This is why, by the way, Rabotai, the Midrash Me'am Loeh says, this is part of the reason of why we do Seudah Revi'it. Seudah Revi'it is a Seudah that you do on Motzei Shabbat. The Seudah Shlishit is 3 meals that you do on Shabbat, but Seudah Revi'it is a Seudah that you do on Motzei Shabbat. And this is a Seudah, this is a Takanah that David HaMelech made. Why? Because he was celebrating that he knew that if he survived the Shabbat, that's it. It's another week he has. Baruch haba. So I know you probably forgot, like a few other people, about the 8 o'clock early start. Ken, I announced it last week. My fault.
In the car 45
oh.
over here.
So anyway, David HaMelech, we're going to try to do Wednesdays on at 8 o'clock. And Wednesdays 8 o'clock, B'ezrat Hashem. So anyway, David HaMelech knew that he has another week. From that, we learned that Seudah Revi'it is a special sgula. You should do it. You should eat something as a fourth meal, as a celebration. David HaMelech paid this takana. So now, how did David HaMelech eventually die? The Malach HaMavet is very smart. So one day, Malach HaMavet came. It was time for David HaMelech to die, and he saw David HaMelech is toiling in Torah. He can't touch him. David HaMelech has the Esh of Torah, burns the Satan. Can't touch him. So he can't even get close to him. So what is he going to do? So he makes a noise in the tree, as if somebody is climbing the tree. So David HaMelech gets up out of his Torah and looks outside. As soon as he goes out there, he goes down, takes one step, falls down the stairs, and the Malach HaMavet takes his neshama. Why? Because for that moment, he didn't learn Torah. The Chachamim ask, wait a minute. What, every time somebody made noise, David HaMelech would leave his Torah and go check it out? Well, we know that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says that someone that leaves us in the middle of studying Torah, just walks away to deal with something mundane, it's better that a fire would burn him. All right, where you go? You go check your phone? Go watch what's on the news because you heard somebody died or somebody's alive or somebody won the lotto and you just leave your Torah just like that? It's dangerous. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says it's a pikuach nefesh. You do such a thing. That's why Rav Moshe Feinstein says someone should always have in their mind, I'm learning now, but whenever I stop, that's because I meant to stop. I meant to stop. You have to remember this because, again, we leave the Torah all the time. So there's still the question, what, David HaMelech, every time somebody made noise somewhere, he just walk away from his Torah? He says, no. What's the chidush? Chidush is that David HaMelech was zealous for Hashem. Was zealous for Hashem. What did he hear? He heard noise on a tree. He thought somebody's climbing a tree. Is climbing a tree allowed on Shabbat or not allowed on Shabbat? Chilul Shabbat Gamur. Not allowed to climb a tree on Shabbat. So David HaMelech was going to rebuke somebody. That's a Maaseh Torah. It's a mitzvah. Ocheach tochech et abitecha. He was going to fulfill a mitzvah. So that's why David HaMelech walked. So that's the full story. Because he didn't get to the mitzvah yet. He was on the way to the mitzvah. He's supposed to be shluch mitzvah, was supposed to be protected. But apparently, during the few moments that he was walking down the stairs, apparently, for that moment, he didn't think about the mitzvah. He thought about the stairs that he's walking on, to be careful and not fall, and he fell. Mamash, the Satan just needs 1 second. So, before I answer the next question, the answer to your question, Satan, is we don't know how many Shabbats he got extra, or how many Shabbats he got anything. We just know that the time that it was for David to live, he lived in this world 70 years, and his descendant is going to be the Mashiach Tzidkenu. The Mashiach has to be connected to David HaMelech by lineage, and this is one of the things that is going to be a big, extraordinary thing that happens at the time of Mashiach, is that no one is going to question that he's Mashiach. Because everyone's going to know exactly who this person is, who his father is, who his grandfather is, all the way to David HaMelech. All the way to David HaMelech. This is why anyone that says that somebody that they know, whether it be a tzaddik or not, is a Mashiach, is simply dreaming. Why? Because there's certain halacha. There's certain halacha that goes with the Mashiach. One of the things that the prophets tell us is that we're all going to know who Mashiach is. Meaning, not all of us people that are trying to be righteous, all meaning even the wicked. Even the wicked are going to know who the Mashiach is. Why the wicked? Because the wicked are going to go to war with him. The wicked don't just pick anybody to go to war with, but they're going to pick the Mashiach, because they're going to know he is the enemy number one. So, with that being said, all of the people that think that somebody that died is a Mashiach, or someone that's alive is a Mashiach, simply you have to learn Ilchot Melachim, you learn the prophets, you learn all the halachot that have to do with Mashiach. There's certain Gemarot about it, Masechet Sanhedrin, and other places. You see that no one that was alive until now is Mashiach. Some people were qualified to be Mashiach, and even they themselves said that they think somebody else is a Mashiach. Like, for example, Rabbi Akiva says that he thought that Bar Kochba was Mashiach. Obviously he was wrong. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, the Yerushalmi says that Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, in his old age, says, I'm Mashiach. If the Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes saying that I'm Mashiach. Why? We have to have a system. What's the system? Eliyahu Navi has to come, he has to announce his Mashiach, and the entire world has to not agree. They know. It's not up for debate. Once the Mashiach is here, there's no debate. Everyone is going to know. How they're going to know? Because the prophet tells us that the miracles that we saw in Mitzrayim, in Yam Suf, all of those miracles that we learn about throughout the whole year, especially on Pesach, those miracles will be done and more at the time of Mashiach. There was 3 days of darkness at the time of the Exodus, right before the Exodus, the plague of darkness. 3 days of darkness where people couldn't move. Literally, they couldn't move. Because the darkness was actually not just dark, but actually they couldn't move physically. They were stuck however they were. The Zohar Kadosh says that at the time of Mashiach there will be 15 days of darkness. 15 days of darkness for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to kill all of the Reshaim who didn't want to do tshuva. All of the people who didn't want to do tshuva, they wanted to wait until Mashiach, or they don't care, or they're lefty liberals that hate Torah. No problem. 15 days is designated for you. Hopefully you do tshuva simply by understanding the magnitude of your foolishness. The point being, Rabotai Kareem, is that David HaMelech, with all of his righteousness, still had a certain amount of time in this world. But the neshama of the Mashiach itself is going to be partly from David, partly from Moshe Rabbeinu. This also is very interesting.